Hi friends. So today's topic is default methods in interfaces, static and default methods in interfaces. So default method was added in Java 8. Okay. What is default method? Default method is basically a normal method, normal implemented method that you can add to an interface. Before Java 8, interface can have only abstract methods. It was possible to have only abstract methods inside interface, and whenever a class will implement any interface, it will have to provide implementation for all the abstract methods in that interface. Apart from abstract methods, you cannot have any another implemented method in an interface. But in Java 8, okay, it added a provision to have a method which is implemented inside the interface. That is method, to have a method with a proper body for it. The way I have shown it over here, it's a method with a implementation over here. Okay, just that you have to prefix it or mark it with a keyword called as default. Okay, so default keyword was introduced in Java 8, and you have to mark a method which is implemented in an interface with that keyword. Okay, that is what is a default method in an interface, and you can have more than one default method. Okay, you can have multiple default methods marked with a keyword called as default. Now, what is the advantage of it is that tomorrow if I write some class which is going to implement this my interface, what will happen is, suppose in this my interface, there are say two abstract methods are there. And this one default method is there. Okay, now if I write a class which is implementing my interface tomorrow, then what I will have to do is I will have to override the two abstract methods which are there in this interface. Okay, but for this default method, the implementation is already there. So in my implementation class, I need not do anything for the default method. It will be as it is available in my implementation class. Abstract methods, there is no body, so I will have to override it. But for the default method, it already has a body and it is already inherited in my implementation class. So when I create an object of implementation class, once I create an object of it, I can directly invoke the default method on it. Okay, I can directly invoke the default method on it. Okay, so I will just show you the example so that you will get an overall idea. Okay, let's do one example. I will show you. Say this over here. So can you see this interface, row label? Suppose there is an interface row label with a abstract method role in it. It's not marked as abstract, but you know that all the methods inside the interface are by default abstract. Okay, and then I have implemented one more method called as show role factor, which is implemented method. It is having a body, and what it is basically showing is I have declared a int primitive data type int, and I have declared a variable called as role factor. So this method is simply showing what is the role factor over here, and I have marked this method as a default method. Okay, by this what happens is that whenever I will write a class which is implementing row label interface, for example, I have written a class football which is implementing row label interface. So what I will have to do is that I will have to override the role method and give a body to it. Okay, so I have done that over here. I have implemented role method. Okay, but you will see I have not implemented show role factor. The default method I have not implemented, I have not overridden it. It is already having a body and it is already available in the football class. Okay, if you wish to change its implementation, if I am not happy with this implementation and I want to change it, that is a different story. Then you can override it. But if you don't want to change it, okay, and you want to inherit the behavior which is already, whatever behavior is given in this default method, I am happy with that and I want the same thing, then you don't, there is no compulsion that you have to override it. For all other abstract methods in an interface, there is a compulsion. It is mandatory that you have to override it, but that is not the case with the default method. Okay, next what I will do is I can simply create a instance of football class and assign it to the interface reference. This is not something which is new in Java 8. This you do in Java also. Earlier we used to create an interface reference and point it to a class pointed to an instance of a class which is implementing the interface. R is R is a reference of interface. And what is this? This is an instance. Instance of which class? Football is an instance of class which is implementing the rollable interface. So I can assign a football instance to a rollable reference. Okay. And you see that I am invoking both the methods. Roll method, obviously I can invoke because I myself have overridden it inside the ball class, inside the football class. So I can call it. But what has to be observed over here is that I can also invoke show roll factor default method over here, although I have not explicitly overridden it inside the football class. Why I can do it? Because it is already inherited and available in the football class. So that is what is the meaning of a default method. It is automatically available in the class which is implementing that interface. Because it is automatically available, there is no compulsion on you to override it. Okay. So that's what it's saying. Please notice how default method show roll factor from rollable interface is automatically available to the implementation class football. Okay. So because it is available, I can directly create a reference of the football class and I can directly invoke that default method on it. If there was one more default method, I can invoke that default method also over here directly. Okay. So that is what this default method is about. Okay. Now, let's discuss the topic that why Java 8 introduced this default methods in first place. What was the need that the Java came up with the default method? Any idea why Java might have introduced this default method? So the reason behind it is the same thing, is that if an interface is having abstract methods, then all the classes which will implement that interface, it is mandatory that class should implement all the abstract methods of that interface. If any of the abstract method the class is not implementing, then what will happen? You know that the compiler will give you error. Okay, you know that if an interface has two abstract methods and my class is implementing that interface and it is giving, it is overriding one abstract method, but it is not overriding the another abstract method, then it will give you error. Okay, so suppose I created one application. At that point in the start, in the first increment of my application, I had an interface and I had couple of abstract methods in it, and I created 2-3 classes which were implementing that interface. At that point, there were two methods in it, and so I created class A and class B. Both of them were implementing an interface. So both of them had implemented all the abstract method of that interface. So far so good. So at this point, my application was working fine, and I roll it out to the client. Now everybody is using it. Later on, suppose there was some requirement, some new requirement came into picture, and I was supposed to provide implementation for it. For that, and it was relevant to that interface which I had already created. To that interface only, I need to add some few more functionality. Now, for that, the most suitable thing for me is I just go and add a new method into that interface rather than creating a whole different interface for it, because the functionality is one and the same. Okay. For example, let's say suppose here there is an interface rollable. It has a method called as, it was, suppose initially when I created rollable interface, it only had roll method inside it. Say abstract method roll was there, one more abstract method bounce was there. So 2 abstract methods were there, roll and bounce. And I had created a football class which was implementing the abstract method roll and bounce. There was no default method at that point of time. Default was not there in the picture. Say this is a time which is before Java 8. And so there was show roll factor method was not there. That functionality was not there. There was, at that point, the requirement was only to have a rollable functionality which will give a implementation which will allow you to implement the functionality for roll. So I had a roll method inside it, and suppose bounce inside it. Okay, but there was no requirement that it should be able to show the rolling factor also to the end user. So there was no show roll factor in abstract method at that point of time. No implementation was there. No abstract method also was there in the rollable interface. Okay. And at that point, I had a football class. I had a, say there was one more class called as tire. Class tire was also implementing rollable interface. And both my classes, football and tire, were implementing the abstract methods. And I had rolled out my application to the client. Then came a requirement that I need to show the roll factor also. Now, because it is relevant to the rollable interface functionality itself, the most logical thing for me is to add this method inside the rollable interface. But before Java 8, if I add any method, only way to add a show roll factor method to my interface is to add it as an abstract method. Suppose I added this as an abstract method. Suppose there was no default functionality. So I added this show roll factor method as an abstract method over here. What would have happened in that case? The football class and the tire class, which I had rolled out to the client, which I had rolled out to the end user, both those classes would have to implement that extra abstract method, because then it is a interface method is have to be implemented by the implementation classes. Otherwise, the implementation class will break. So if football will not implement the show roll factor, it will not override the show roll factor. If tire class will not override the show roll factor method, it will break. So it was mandatory for me. What we'll have to do is I will not only have to modify the rollable interface, I will also have to modify the football class and the tire class. And there was, suppose, third class also, which was implementing rollable interface. I will have to modify that also. So like that, I will have to keep on modifying all my implementation classes for an addition of a single new method inside my interface. Okay. Now doing this is very cumbersome. I will have to first of all find out, which are the classes which are implementing this interface. So throughout my application, I have to find out which are the classes which is implementing that interface, and then keep on modifying all of them one by one. Okay. Instead of this, what I required was I needed some functionality which will allow me to easily add my new functionality inside my interface. Okay. Without breaking the existing implementation classes. That is, I should be able to add the functionality for show roll factor inside my rollable interface. I should be able to give the implementation for it. And also at the same time, it should not be a compulsion on me that my implementation class should override it. Okay. So that I need not modify my football class. I need not modify my tire class. I need not modify any another class which is going to implement rollable, which is implementing rollable class. Okay. So that was the requirement. Okay. That is what it is saying over here. So whatever I'm telling, same thing is summarized over here, that it's a Java rule. What it is saying, it's a Java. So what is the reason why Java 8 included default method in an interface, which we were discussing? It's a Java rule that class implementing the interface should implement all of its abstract method. Else compiler gives an error, that we know. That is there before Java 8 also. So if tomorrow a new abstract method is added to an interface, then all the implementation classes will have to implement that abstract method so that there is no compiler error. Okay. That means I will have to implement that method inside my football class, tire class, and any another class which is implementing rollable interface. This is really cumbersome, and default interface methods are an efficient way to deal with the above issue. How default method can deal with above issue? It's very easy. You have already seen that I have added a default method to it, and my football class, there was no need to implement or override that default method inside my football class. If you will see here in this football class, I am not overriding show roll factor, but still it is available over here for me to invoke it. So I can invoke the default method, okay, because it is automatically available to the implementation class, and because it is automatically available to all the implementation classes, I need not override my functionality there. I need not go and modify those classes. I need not touch those classes. So this is very easy for me. Just add whatever new functionality to the interface as a default method, and you are done. Okay, you are done. You are sure that it will be automatically available to all your implementation classes. So if there is some code out there which is creating an instance of football, I know that automatically my method newly added functionality will be automatically available to it. Okay, I need not be bothered about it, that how my new functionality will be available in a football, how my new functionality will be available in a tire class. I need not bother about it. I just know that I added it as a default method in the base interface, and it will be automatically available to all the implementation classes. My implementation class is not going to break because I have added some new functionality in the interface. That much I am sure. Okay. So that is what the default method is providing to you. Okay, they allow us to add new non-abstract methods to an interface that are automatically available in the implementation. Hence, we don't need to modify the implementing classes. In this way, backward compatibility is preserved without having to refactor the implementing classes. So whatever rolled out functionality was there of my football class and my tire class is already rolled out to the client. Okay. Even if I add a new functionality tomorrow in my interface class, I know that it's backward compatible with the code which I have already rolled out. My football class which I have rolled out, the tire class which I have rolled out, and the client is right now it is using it. It is being used inside my application right now by the end user, and I know that it's not going to break. The backward compatibility will still be there, and so it will not break. Okay, my new functionality will become automatically available. Okay, understood, without end user knowing that it has got modified. Okay, so this transition is very smooth. Okay, that is what default method gives you. That is the power of the default method. So that is what is advantage, that the most common use of interface default method is to incrementally provide additional functionality. So it is possible for me to provide new function, incrementally provide new functionality. Today in my interface there are only 2 methods, but tomorrow, say after my first rollout of my application, suppose I got feedback from the client, and based on that I decide to add some new functionality to my interface tomorrow, then I can easily add new functionality to it, increment it without breaking an existing code. Okay, that is a very important feature of your object-oriented programming. Okay, extensibility. You should be able to enhance your code without breaking the existing code. Okay, that is what is the advantage your default method provides, to incrementally provide additional functionality to a given interface type without breaking down the implementing classes. Okay. Now, what all things can do? Say, suppose it can also be used to provide additional functionality around existing abstract method. For example, earlier, suppose there was an interface called as drivable, anything that you can drive. Okay, that is drivable interface. Suppose there was a method called as get speed over here. Okay, and tomorrow, initially my drivable interface only had a method called as get speed, which was giving speed say in some different unit. Okay, but later on from client I got a requirement that please write some code which will give me speed in km/h. Okay, so what I can do is I can go and add a default method over here for the same get speed. I can say get speed in km/h, and I can do the conversion, and I can return that same speed over here. Okay, so I just added a conversion class which will convert my speed in from one unit to another unit. So that is what I added, a functionality which is around an existing abstract method. So this is my abstract method, and this is another functionality which is going to provide some enhancement to it. Okay, so that what it means that you can totally add some new functionality altogether, but which is still relevant to that interface, or you can provide some functionality which is just an add-on to the existing abstract class which is already there. Okay, so it is up to you based on the requirement. Okay, now, so this is what is default method, but one catch over here with default method is earlier when there were no implementation methods inside the interface, this issue was not there. But now that you can write default method inside an interface, you have to understand where the problem can creep up. Okay, see, for example, suppose I wrote one class, okay, and it is implementing 2 interfaces. Okay, it is implementing interface A and it is implementing interface B, and both of these interfaces have a default method with the same name. Okay, it has a default method with the same name. For example, let's see over here, same interface which we discussed just now, drivable interface. Okay, this is interface drivable, and it has a you will see the default method is turn alarm on and turn alarm off. These are the 2 methods over here. Okay, understood. So this is one interface which has these two default methods, and there is one more interface called as alarm, which again have the methods with the same name. Okay. Now, if I write a class car, which is implementing interface drivable and implementing interface alarm, what is going to happen? All the methods inside drivable will be inherited over here in class car. All the methods in the alarm interface will be inherited over here in class car. In class car, obviously, you will have to override these abstract methods given over here. But about default methods, you don't have to override. But the problem is, you don't have to override the default methods, but then two pairs, two versions of turn alarm on and turn alarm off, these two default methods will be inherited. One pair will be inherited from drivable interface and another one from the alarm interface. So then there will be a problem, because when you create a car instance and you invoke a turn alarm on method on it, it is not going to understand which one you intend to invoke. Do you intend to invoke a turn alarm on of alarm interface, or you want to invoke a turn alarm on of drivable interface? It will not understand. When you create a car instance, say car C equal to new car, and then you say C dot turn alarm on, it is not going to understand which turn alarm on implementation should it call, this one or this one. So there will be a lot of confusion. So compiler will in first place give you the error. Compiler will not allow you to proceed ahead. Okay, what error compiler will give? See over here what it is saying. Duplicate default methods named turn alarm off and turn alarm on with same parameter, same signature are inherited from the type alarm and drivable. So it is saying that two pairs are inherited, same method signature with the same name and everything is inherited from two different interfaces. So in this case, the code simply won't compile, as there's a conflict caused by multiple interface inheritance. This is very common. This is not by default method. Earlier default method was not there, but this kind of a thing, like suppose this kind of a problem is there, and it is commonly called as a diamond problem. Interface is not there, but a base class is there, and there is no multiple inheritance in Java. So you don't come across a diamond problem in Java because of the multiple inheritance is not there in Java. You don't have a base class, you don't have two base classes, and then you don't have a derived class which is implementing the two base classes. So you don't come across a diamond problem in Java. Okay, it was automatically avoided because multiple inheritance was not there in Java. Okay, this problem used to occur in C++ though, because in C++ multiple inheritance is allowed. So in C++, when you have two base classes with the same method, and you write a third class which is implementing base class A and base class B, and suppose both the classes have the method with the same signature, then both will get inherited in the derived class. And there again it will cause a problem because there will be two pairs of the same method. So diamond problem is a very common kind of a design pattern. Okay, it's common design, where design flaw, I will say, where you come across this situation. Now with the introduction of the default method inside the interface, okay, you can face the similar situation in Java also. Okay, so what is the solution for this kind of a problem? How can we proceed ahead? In this case, when there is such a situation, what you will have to do is, you will have to explicitly, in that case, you will have to explicitly override that method inside the class car. Then in class car, you explicitly override the method which term alarm on and term alarm off there, so that there is no confusion as to which implementation it has to call, because you yourself are providing the implementation in the class car. So when you say car when you say car C equal to new car, and when you say C dot turn alarm on, it knows that implementation is right there in the class car. So it has no confusion which one it should invoke. Okay. If you don't want to provide your own implementation inside class car, what you can do is, you can just write turn alarm on, you can write the method signature, and from inside that method signature, you can end up calling whichever base class method, base interface method you want. Suppose I want to call a drivable interface turn alarm on method, I will say drivable dot super dot default method. If I don't want drivable turn alarm on method, I want the method of say alarm interface, then I will simply say alarm.super.turn alarm on. Okay, so it's up to you which one you want to call. If you don't want to call any base class implementation and you want to give your own implementation instead, you can go ahead and provide your own implementation also. So it is up to you. It's same like when you override the method in normal inheritance, when you do class inheritance, object inheritance in Java, you know that when you override a method, you have an option of providing your own implementation and calling any base class method using super keyword. Same you can do over here. Okay. So what happens when a class implements several interfaces that define the same default method? So when there is a conflict caused by multiple interface inheritance, the code won't compile. We can solve this ambiguity. Ambiguity means confusion by explicitly providing an implementation for the method. This is an explicit implementation, right? You have overridden it and you have provided a body for it. Okay, this was required because it was being inherited twice. Had it been that these two methods were there in the alarm interface but not there in another interface, then there was no need for you to override it. Remember that. Okay, because the default methods by default work in methods work in such a way that the implementation class need not override it unless and until you've come up with a diamond problem. In that case, you have to provide an explicit implementation, because it is inheriting two pairs of the same method signature from two base interfaces. Okay, otherwise you don't have to override it. Just remember that. Okay, if you are writing an application in which such a situation is not arising, then in your implementation classes you need not bother about overriding your default method. Just remember that. Okay, so that's it. That is about the default method. Now what we are going to do is, I have just shown you the code. We will actually do the coding. So let me open Eclipse and we will just do one small example of a default method. You can we can do this example itself. I will just try it out. So okay, so this is a project over here, and what I'm going to do is I am going to show you an example of a default method, right? Default method which was added to interface in Java 8. Let's add a main method signature also. Okay, and here in the code example which we discussed just now, the interface that we discussed was rollable, right? So here instead of rollable, let's use a similar kind of an interface called as bounceable. Anything that can bounce, okay, is of type bounceable. So let's add an abstract method called as bounce. Okay, and I am also adding a bounce factor over here, and it will be a constant. So I am initializing it to 5. This is public static final by default, and this is a public static final variable. If you declare a variable in interface, then it is public static final and it is treated as constant. The methods are public and abstract. Okay, so this is a normal interface, and then I am now writing a class ball which is implementing the bounceable interface. Okay, the moment I write this, it's going to give you error saying that hey, ball is implementing the bounceable interface, so it should provide the implementation for the inherited abstract method. This abstract method will be inherited in the ball class, and because it is abstract method, I need to override it and I need to give it a body. Okay, so let's override it. Here let's write a constructor over here, and for bounce factor, let's declare its instance variable called as BF. So bounce factor equal to bounceable dot bounce factor, and I will just go ahead and here I will say this dot BF. Okay, so this is the implementation for bounce method. Now let's invoke the bounce method. How you are going to do it? Just bounceable b equal to new ball and b dot. So this is runtime polymorphism for you. Till now, I have not added a default method to this class. Now let's add a default method. Suppose I add a method called as, not here, I have to add a default method to the interface, right? By mistake, I was adding it over here. I have to add it over here. Default show bounce entity. So I want to show which is the entity that you are trying to bounce. So we will take the entity name as an argument. Okay. Return type is what? Void. Okay. And it is a, see, this is a default method, right? So you have to provide a body. If you don't provide a body, it is going to give you a error. This method requires a body instead of a semicolon. Why? Because you have prefixed it with the default. All default methods inside interface need to be implemented. Okay. So what we are going to do, system.out.println bouncing entity is, what is the, whatever the entity name, you just mention it over here. Okay. So this is the default method. Now this will be automatically inherited in the ball class. Okay. Bounce method was also inherited, but because it was abstract method which was inherited and it was abstract, so I need to override it and provide a body. That was the requirement. Here also this gets inherited, but it already has a body. And because it already has a body, I need not override it. There is no compulsion on me to override it. Okay. This I have overridden. So let's mark it using override annotation. Okay. And I'm not overriding the default method, but I can still use it because it is inherited. B dot show bouncing entity, and our bouncing entity is ball, right? So this is it. This is how I'm making use of a default method. Let's try to run it. See, this ball is bouncing with the bounce factor 5 and bouncing. This is our default method being implemented. It's showing output bouncing entity is ball. Okay. So this is how I can, so let's say that in our first increment, only this much functionality was there in the interface and class ball was implementing bounceable. Later on in the second increment, I went ahead and I added this functionality. But after adding this functionality, I did not touch. I had to do no modification to the class ball. What I did is on the bounceable interface reference, I just ended up calling my or invoking my default method directly. Okay, this is what I did. Just add a default method inside the interface and invoke it on the interface reference. Okay, and it is done. Okay, now I have written a class ball. Similarly, suppose there was one more implementation class. Let's call it as a tire. Oh, let's call it as a tire because tire is also bounceable type. Okay, interface reference as tire. Okay, and over here, let's say that ball, for a ball is little more bounceable. So bounce factor for a ball is 5 times higher. Whereas over here, the bounceable factor for tire is whatever the interface is having a bounce factor as 5. that is okay over here. So we will just assign it as it is. Over here for ball, we have multiplied it with 5. Okay. And here we will say tire is bouncing with bounce factor so and so. And what we will do over here, again, B is the bounceable reference. I can make it to point to a new implementation class. In this case, it is tire. And B dot bounce and B dot show bouncing entity. In this case, it is tire, right? Let's go ahead and run it. Okay. So for ball, we have incremented the bounce factor by 5 times. So it is showing 25, and for tire, it is still 5, and the bouncing entity is tire. Okay. So this is how we implement default method. One thing you can do is that instead of calling, instead of creating a reference over here and calling the methods over here, we can also, if you want, we can also have a, I'm just writing a static method for convenience. Otherwise, no, you can write an instance member method also, but I'm writing just to show that you can have a bounceable reference over here, and on that bounceable reference, you can call bounce and you can call show bounce factor. You can take string entity name over here and pass that entity name. Once you do this, you can also just over here, you can also invoke new ball with the entity name as ball over here like this. You can invoke, you can pass a existing, if I pass B, what is B? B in the end is, B is pointing to tire. So if I pass B, it is going to be a tire instance that is going to get passed. Because last assignment for the reference B is a tire instance. Okay. So I will just comment out this part. And here, okay, so you can pass it to a method like this, okay, which is taking the bounceable reference, okay. B1 is of type bounceable, so you can assign, you can pass ball to it. Ball is implementing bounceable, so ball is of type bounceable, so ball instance will go and it will be assigned to B1, so that when you say B1 dot, when you say B1 dot bounce, it is going to invoke the bounce method of the ball. And show bounce entity, because it is a default method and it is inherited in the ball class, it will be invoked as it is. You are not overriding show bounce entity inside the ball. So whatever the default method implementation which was provided in the interface, the same will get invoked. For tire also same thing. When you pass B1, B1 is of type tire. So it is going to invoke bounce method on the tire. And when you say show bounce entity, again, show bounce entity is not overridden inside the tire class. So it is going to implement the show bounce entity method, which was coded inside the interface. It is not inside the interface. It has got inherited inside the tire class, but its implementation is still the same because you have not overridden it. Okay. When you pass ball instance in B1 and you say B1 dot show bounce entity method, which was there in interface, it got inherited in the ball, and the same implementation which will be invoked because you are not overridden it. Suppose I go ahead and I override. So now you know how the default method works, right? I have shown you over here by creating a reference over here and calling it over here itself. I have also showed you how you can pass the implementation class reference to a method and you can call it from there. So default method
is clear to you how to code it and do it. One more thing, as I told you, that it's your choice in class ball whether you want to override the show bounce factor method or default method, whether you want to override it or you don't want to override. Suppose in class ball I don't want to override it, but I want to override it inside the class tire. So what I will say, override. What is the signature? Signature should be same because it's a overridden method. So show bounce factor string entity name show bounce entity. What is the name? Show bouncing entity, right? That is the name of the default method. Okay, and we will just modify our implementation a bit. We will say we will provide some different string over here, is bouncing with bounce factor equal to plus this dot bounce. Just to show you that if I'm not happy with the implementation which is provided in my interface, okay, I can always override that default method inside my implementation class. So say out of the two classes, one I have not modified, I have just kept it as it is. Second one I have modified because I want some different functionality there. And that's also fine. So here, now this time when I run, what will happen? For ball, you will see that when I pass ball instance over here and I say b1.show bounce entity, it is going to invoke the inherited method, default method, this default method which is inherited in ball, it is going to show bounce entity is ball. But when I pass a tire instance over here, b1 is passed, what is going to happen? You say b1.show bounce entity. So what is going to happen at runtime? JVM, what it is going to do, it is going to say that, okay, b1 is pointing to tire. So when you invoke show bounce entity, it is going to search for show bounce entity inside the tire class. If it was not there in a tire class, then it would call the inherited method from the interface. But right now you have overridden it inside the tire class. So it will call that overridden method show bounce entity from the tire class. So it is going to invoke this method over here. And it will show you output as tire is bouncing with bounce factor so and so. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so here in the ball we are not overriding it, so it is showing the inherited method from default method that's inherited from interface as it is. In case of a tire, because I am overriding that default method, it is showing the output from that overridden method. Tire is bouncing with bounce factor 20, bounce factor 5. So is it clear to you how to write a default method, how it is auto available in the implementation class? And because it has a body, you need not override it. Its implementation is already there. It's no longer abstract, so you need not override it. But it's your choice. If you're not happy with the existing implementation inside the interface, you can always go ahead and override it. Okay. So backward compatibility is there. If you don't want to touch the implementation classes, it's okay. You don't touch it. Whatever the code is rolled out to the end user, it will still work fine. You need not recompile it. You need not test and redeploy it, and everything will be fine. Out of these 4 classes, if one of the class you want to override and change the behavior of the default method, say later on, then you can still modify that particular single class only and just redeploy, retest, recompile, retest, and redeploy only that class, but need not touch rest of the implementation. Okay, so that's it. That's the explanation for the default method. So with this, we cover most of the part of your why default method were introduced in the interface. Now, next topic are the static methods. Let's cover static method fast.
Along with default method, static method was also introduced in the interface. Earlier, there was no way to have a static implemented methods inside your interface. Okay, only abstract methods were allowed inside the interface. So what used to happen is that, suppose in the rollable interface, suppose I want to add some utility method, some extra method I want to add, which will which is common for all the implementation classes, be it a ball, be it a tire, all of them should have some common functionality. Okay, so I can implement that functionality as a static method, which will belong to that interface instead of belonging to an object. You know that is what a static is all about. You know that the static means it belongs to a class or it belongs to an interface. It does not belong to an object. Okay, it will if I create 4 objects of that interface of implementation class, it will the functionality which is for the static functionality will be common for all the objects. That is not the case with your instance method. That is not the case with your instance method. Okay, instance method belongs to instance. Okay, and it can access your instance variable, but the static method belongs to the class or interface, and it cannot access your instance variables. It cannot access your instance members, that is instance member variables. It cannot access, but because it does not belong to object, it belongs to class or it belongs to interface. Okay, so that is what a static is all about. Okay, but interface allows you to add a static methods now. Okay, so Java 8 also allows us to define and implement static method in interface in addition to default methods. So you can have, see this, suppose the same drivable interface which we earlier had. Okay, suppose it's anything that is drivable, say car or bike or anything that will, suppose I have a class car which is going to implement the drivable interface. And for be it a car or be it a bike or be it a bus, anything which is drivable, it should be able to show what is the power, how much power it is generating. So I have added a utility method called as get horsepower. This is a common utility method which all implementation classes should have. So I have implemented it over here, and moreover I have made it static because it does not belong to any specific object implementation. It belongs to a general level. So it belongs to an interface instead of the object. Okay. And how to invoke it? You can invoke it by saying interface name dot static method. Okay, that is what is the syntax to invoke the static method. Interface name dot static method name. Okay. Now static methods don't belong to a particular object, so they don't belong to the classes that implement the interface. Okay. Tomorrow when I write in class car or class bus, get horsepower is not going to belong to that class. It's going to be still a part of a drivable interface. They have to be called by using the interface name preceding the method name. To understand how static method works in interface, let's refactor the drivable interface and add a static utility method as shown below that we have seen. Okay. Now why? Now you know. So from this it is clear what is static method, how to static method. You had earlier added static method to a normal class. So you know what static method is all about. It's just that now you can add the same static method to an interface also. That's it. Otherwise, the static method is it's the same static method which you used to add in classes. Now you can add in interface. Now, why this facility or this provision was provided from Java 8? Before Java 8, it was not there. Why there was a need to allow to add static method inside the interface? Okay, if just think about it, I am giving you just 1 second. What might be the reason? Okay, same reason. The reason is in front of you, that I wanted this utility method get horsepower. Okay, and it does not belong to any particular implementation class. It belongs to interface itself. Drivable is a functionality. It belongs to the drivable interface itself. And so the proper place to put this method is inside the drivable interface. But earlier, before Java 8, there was no way I can add this method over here in drivable interface. So what I had to do at that point of time, I will have to go and add this get horsepower method implementation inside my class car or class bus. Every class which is implementing that interface, I will have to go and code this method there. Unnecessarily, I will have to write that method again and again in those implementing classes. If I don't want to do that, then again I will have to create some another utility class, separate utility class, and write this method in that utility class, and then make my class car or class bus to inherit that utility class. Okay, that is, in short, I will have to do some extra coding for it, unnecessarily create some class to have the same method, or implement it again and again in the implementation classes. Okay, to avoid all that, the efficient way is to allow me to add this static method in the interface itself. Now, once I'm allowed to do this, to write this inside the interface which is its rightful place, I think. From the functionality point of view, this is the correct place where I should add this functionality. And once I add it over here, I can make use of it anywhere in my ball class, in my tire class, in my bus class or car class or any class that is of type drivable. If I want to access this utility method, I can simply access it by saying drivable.getHorsepower. Okay, you can simply access it by saying interface name.method name. The way of invoking it will still be same, but my implementing classes will have this utility method readily available to them, and I need not implement it inside the class car, or I need not implement it inside the class bus or anything. So that is what it is trying to say. Java 8 included static interface methods so as to allow putting all related methods together in one single place without having to create extra class as placeholder for this static method. So this is, again, drivable class has another methods also, abstract methods like drive. There will be a drive method, there will be a apply brake method. All these will be abstract methods which are relevant to drivable interface. But along with that, there is a get horsepower method also, which is also related to drivable. So it's good to put all these methods together at a single place inside the drivable interface, instead of creating a separate utility class for get horsepower method. Why create a separate class and put this single method there, and rest of the methods of drivable like apply brake and drive and all those methods inside the drivable interface? Why separate them out? All these methods are really related to each other. They are cohesive with each other. They should belong to the same entity, same interface. So why create a separate class just as a placeholder for this method? So that is what it is saying. Avoid creating an extra class as a placeholder for this static method. What is the advantage of it? It improves the cohesion of the design. You know, one of the principles of a good design principle is that your classes should be cohesive. That is, classes should be cohesive means what? All the related functionality, relevant functionality of that particular class should be grouped together. Okay, if I am writing a class called as employee, then all the functionality which is relevant to that employee should be in the employee class. If I am writing a class called as account, then all the methods related to account like withdraw, deposit, show balance, all methods should be there in the class account. Okay, do you create a class that withdraw method and deposit method is there in class account, but then show balance method is there in some another class? If you do that, then your class is not actually proper, it's not cohesive, right? So that is what is meaning of a cohesion. Cohesion means all relevant functionalities grouped together. So by allowing your interface to have these static methods, what it has improved is they have improved the cohesion of your interfaces or your classes. Okay, so overall your design will be more cohesive. Thus, static methods in interface make it possible to group related utility methods without having to create artificial utility class or a separate utility class as a placeholder for this static method. Okay, so that is what is the need of, that was what was the need at that point of time, and that is how that gap was filled in by Java 8 by introducing this static method and allowing it to be added in an interface. Defining static method with an interface is similar to how you define in class. That I already said, that static method is no different to you. You have already used static method inside classes. This is just that now you can add it to an interface also. You can have more than one static method inside your interface. Now, static method can be invoked within other static and default methods also. That also you are aware of, that you can call one static method from inside another static method. We used to do it in case of a classes when we had a static method there. Same thing is applicable here also. Here, what is there? You can call static method from inside another static method or from another default method also, or instance method also. Okay.
So we are back over here in our code, which we implemented for our default method. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and add a static method over here. Say I am going to add a static method, static int get bounce factor. And multiple I've added a get bounce factor, which will return the bounce factor value over here. But before it returns the bounce factor value, whatever multiple you have passed to this get bounce factor method, it's going to multiply your bounce factor with that multiple. So if your multiple is 5, it is going to increase your bounce factor 5 times, and then it is going to return it. Okay. So that is what is added over here, and because it's a static method, it can access your static variable directly. Okay, understood. So you know the rule for a static method, that from static method you cannot refer to the instance methods. Okay, but you can refer to the other static variables or other static methods from inside over here. Okay, so I'm returning bounce factor multiplied by whatever multiple you pass to it. So this is a static method, and it belongs to bounceable. And when you say class ball, what will happen if you want to use it over here? What you can do now, you need not say bounceable dot bounce factor into 5 over here. No need of multiplying it with 5, because we have added a static utility method for that, get bounce factor, right? So we can end up using that. So I will just comment this out. And I can say this dot df. And what is the method name? How to call it? Interface name dot get bounce factor. And what is the multiple? 5 is the multiple. Okay. So this will be the correct way to do it, using a static utility method. Okay, to enhance your bounce factor. Okay, so for ball you want to enhance it. Okay, over here for tire you don't want it. Still, what will be the correct way to do it? You add a multiple of 1. If you add a multiple of 1, it is going to simply bounceable dot get bounce factor with a multiple of 1. It is going to return you the same value. Okay, so let's see whether the function, the output will still be same. Yes or no? The output is still going to be same. The bounce factor is still going to be 25 and bounce factor is going to be 5, because same multiple, which only thing is that earlier we were multiplying by 5. Now I have added a utility method to do the same thing. Okay, to enhance the bounce factor, I have added a static utility method, which you can directly call. Because it belongs to the interface, you can call as it is wherever you need. In the implementation classes, you can invoke, or you can directly invoke it from the main method also. Over here, suppose you decide that I want to know invoke system.out.println. You can say bounceable dot get bounce factor and 10. But it will not make any sense over here. I have just shown it to show you that you can call this from anywhere. You can call it from main method, or you can call it from inside the implementation classes. Wherever you want, you can call it. So this in the end, because I have added 10 as my multiple, added 10 as the multiple, and here it is going to do bounce factor. Multiple is going to be 10. So it will be 5 into 10, that is 50. So it is showing you last value, system.out.println bounceable.get bounce factor. It is showing you the value as 50. So static utility method can be called from anywhere. Although the right place for adding it is inside bounceable, because this utility method is relevant to bounceable. So it will be relevant to all the implementation classes of bounceable. Okay. So that's it. This is how you provide a static method inside the bounceable, and you can use it inside the implementation classes, or you can use it from the main method wherever you want. Okay. So let's go back and discuss the remaining points. Okay. So this is how we have discussed the static method. And let's summarize in the end. So we have seen how to use the default method, how to use the static method inside the interface, and why Java 8 introduced default and static methods in interface. We have discussed everything. We also seen the coding, how to do the coding for it. So summary, we have covered use of static and default interface methods in Java 8. Okay. Now, one last point that I want to discuss is that from object-oriented perspective, you might think that interface, it's not good to have a behavior inside interface. When you implement a method inside the interface, you are actually adding a behavior to an interface. So from object-oriented perspective, you might think that interface shouldn't encapsulate the behavior and should only be used for defining the public API. Earlier, before Java 8, interface used to have only abstract methods. So it used to only outline what all things the implementation classes should have. It never used to give the implementation for it. Okay, it only used to mention what all things should be there, but how they should be there, what should be there, how they should be implemented, it never said anything about it. Okay, that is what it means, that interface was not having behavior inside it. Okay, but with default method, now you can have an implemented method inside interface. So you can add a behavior to an interface to certain extent. Obviously, abstract methods are still there. So public API, you can still outline with abstract methods, and you can override it in the implementation class and give your own behavior inside the implementation class. Not only that, even if you add default method and you give the existing behavior inside interface, you can still have a provision of overriding it again inside your implementation classes. Okay, so that is still there. You can still override that behavior. But what it is saying that in the first place, why interface should have behavior defined inside it, even for the default methods, why it should have. So earlier when it came, people thought it from that point of view, from design point of view, they thought that why you should encapsulate behavior. Okay, and it should only be used for defining public API of certain type. Like you have interfaces for many things in Java. For you have interface for all IO related classes, for JDBC, for everything you have an interface, and it used to only outline driver interface or any interface, collection interfaces you see. If it is a list interface, it will only outline what all methods should be there in the implementation classes. Okay, it never used to give any behavior, but now you can have a little bit of behavior added to it using default method. So why it allowed it in the first place? So it is saying, but it's saying that, okay, it should not have, but when it comes to maintaining backward compatibility with existing code, okay, we have seen all those problems. What will happen if it doesn't allow the implementation of the default method there, and I have to add an abstract method tomorrow? What all problems I will face? We have seen it. Okay, our code will no longer be backward compatible, and it's going to create huge problems for us. It's going to take a lot of time. Entire thing you have to modify, then test, then compile, test, redeploy. Entire cycle is going to run again, and it's going to take a lot of time. So to maintain the backward compatibility with the existing code, static and default methods are a good trade-off. Trade-off means what? Trade-off means we are ready to compromise on principle to certain extent. What is the principle? The principle is that interface shouldn't encapsulate behavior. That is main principle of object-oriented programming, of a good design. But we are, for good design sake only, again, we are ready to compromise and have a trade-off, a good trade-off for this. We are going to compromise a bit on this because it's going to provide a big advantage for us. That's what it is saying. So that might be the reason why it came with this thing so late. Maybe earlier it did not came thinking from the same thing that you should not have behavior in interface and all that. But later on, when it faced all this issue in the later release, finally in Java 8 release, they agreed with this trade-off, and they agreed to having default and static method inside the Java 8. Okay, so this covers everything regarding default and static method. Any extra point, if it is remaining, and we will be doing a lot of other topics related to Java 8. If at all I come across any point which is relevant to this, I will cover it up over there. So thank you. That's all for the default and static method.